Hey, my brilliant and beautiful blue stars, welcome back to your Not So Daily, exposing our classmates. So, in our new grade, everyone got shuffled and thrown into different science classes. In biology, I ended up sitting next to this boy, let's just call him Freddie. When I tell you his brain is fried, I mean fully deep fried, crispy, seasoned, and served with a side of rotten brain. One day, I'm just trying to actually do the work when this dude suddenly stretches his arms across our table. Then he starts chanting, tongue, 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 sahur. Mr. Williams turns around and tells him to be quiet, which Freddie obeys for approximately 1 millisecond. Then he immediately starts slamming his arms on the table again, singing, tra-la-la-lo, tra-la-la. I'm not sure if you guys know the song, but it was a remix that someone made of the Italian brainrot called Brainrot Drill Hood Trap. The guy who sits at the desk next to us, let's call him Albert, just looks at him and says,
I feel bad for Bluebean that she has to sit next to someone like you.
and honestly, same. A few minutes later, Mr. Williams asks us to answer a biology question on our mini whiteboards. I didn't know the answer, so I wrote this long paragraph basically waffling about something unrelated, hoping it would look believable. But because Freddie thinks I'm good at every type of science, he straight up copies my entire answer, but he's lost his whiteboard. So he writes the whole thing on lined paper in handwriting that looks like a doctor wrote it. I even told him, Freddie, my answer isn't correct. And he just shrugged. Some people in my class keep assuming I'm good at every science just because I'm good at some of it. I'm literally only good at chemistry and decent at physics. Biology, absolutely not. I'm allergic to that subject. I remember how I missed a couple of biology lessons because I was out buying candy, literally the most unserious reason to skip class. But here we are. Anyway, when I came back, Mr. Williams handed everyone a worksheet. They'd already finished about 75% of it while I was gone, so I'm just staring down at this sheet with my mind empty. I decided I'd try to copy a guy called Philip sitting next to me. I leaned over a little, so see his sheet. He noticed me but didn't care. I looked in terror. His handwriting looked like it was possessed. Half of it looked like he'd written it with his foot. I couldn't read a single thing. Then, out of nowhere, the nice girl who sits at the desk next to Freddie turns to me and goes, do you want to copy mine? Like an absolute angel sent from the biology gods. Her handwriting was actually legible, too unlike the dude's scratch marks. I swear, if she hadn't saved me, I would have still been on question 1.
Hey guys, call me Coraline, back in grade 5, near the end of the school year. I remember it being a pretty good morning. My mom was in a great mood and being really kind to me, so I was feeling happy as I headed to school. I was walking with my brother, let's call him Samuel. He's wearing green because he looks like Shrek. I also had this friend at the time, we'll call him Marcus, who wears blue because he looks like Megamind. He wasn't horrible, but he could be really annoying sometimes. Anyway, I decided to stay near them for a bit since my actual close friends weren't nearby yet. While we were standing around, I overheard my brother messing with filters on his phone. And then out of nowhere, Marcus had the absolute audacity to suggest doing a filter on me. I was so slow to react. Honestly, I should have ran. Before I could even move, Marcus put his arms around me, while my brother tried to take a picture. I wanted so badly to kick Marcus in the you-know just to get him off me. I kept my face completely covered, using my hands to block any angle my brother could try to photograph. Then Marcus asked, did you take it yet? And my brother said, no. And that's when Marcus dropped me onto the ground, hard. I burst into tears right then and there. A few hours later, some other kids came up to me and asked if I was okay. I told them yes, even though I definitely wasn't. I told my parents and they said not to go near Marcus ever again, but I'm better now.
I'm Kai. This is about the beef I had with the kid I'll call Mickey. I first met him during my freshman year. We were in a class together, and right away, he was a pain. He said stuff that came off kinda sexist. Like, boys shouldn't cry. He was older than me, by the way, which somehow made it even worse. We ended up sharing another class in the special education room. One day, he was whining about something and blaming it all on his autism. Like, it's not my fault, it's my autism. Over and over again, I finally snapped and yelled something like, I have ADHD and then honestly, I forget the rest. But I remember being fed up by the end of the year. Two big incidents happened. The first one was that we were in the special education room, and Mickey was whining about something again. I decided to just ignore him and went to the bathroom. When I came back, he was literally blocking the doorway. I just stood there like, dude, really? Instead of dealing with him, I went around to the library. Eventually, the teachers handled it, and he never came back to that class again. The second incident was in another class. I was chatting with the teacher about how popcorn chicken and chicken nuggets are basically the same thing. Earlier, Mickey had insisted popcorn chicken was totally different, and somehow he overheard my conversation and got mad. He started accusing me of calling him stupid, even though I wasn't. As a result, we ended up arguing, and he had to leave the room. For the rest of the school year, he was basically gone. I didn't see him again after that. That was my freshman year. My sophomore year was quieter. The only thing that really happened was me flipping him off because he was being a jerk to me in the hallway. Not my finest moment, but whatever. By junior year, unfortunately, I had to deal with him again. I should mention that Mickey was friends with one of my friends. I'll call him Carter. They were friends because he always wore orange, and partly because he'd joke around doing the OMG, they hurt Kenny thing from South Park. Anyway, during junior year, we ended up in this sort of study hall type class together. One day, Mickey was being absolutely horrible to our teacher. I'll call her Miss Leo. He was talking back, refusing to do work, just starting problems. Everyone else was just sitting there quietly, as they clearly don't want to get included in drama. Miss Leo was honestly one of the nicest teachers I'd ever has. But even she looked like she was about 2 seconds from crashing out. Mickey kept interrupting her, complaining about every tiny thing, and acting like she was personally out to ruin his life because she asked him to sit down and do literally anything. Meanwhile, Carter and I were silently looking at each other. Carter wasn't even defending him. He just shrugged at me saying, "Yeah, he's doing too much today." Eventually, Mickey slammed his notebook shut even though it had been empty the entire time and stormed out of the classroom. Nobody said anything, but of course, Mickey wasn't done. About 10 minutes later, he came back like nothing happened, just walked in, sat down, and started telling Carter about some video game like he hadn't just caused a scene. Miss Leo just stared at him with that look every teacher gives a student who annoys them. That wasn't even the last drama he caused. A few weeks later, he and Carter got into an argument about a group project. We had to bring a poster board. Mickey started shouting that it wasn't his job, and that everyone always expects so much from him. Carter wasn't having it. He replied, "Bro, it was legit only one poster board. They're only 50 cents. Are you that broke or something?" It was the first time I had ever seen Carter actually get mad. And Mickey did not like that. He yelled back, "You're supposed to be on my side." And Carter shot back, "It's not that deep, calm down." They kept arguing, so Miss Leo had to separate them, and after that day, Carter stopped hanging around Mickey as much. He still talked to him sometimes, but it was more like polite, distant small talk. The rest of us kind of noticed the shift. It was the first time Mickey's actually faced consequences. By that point, I was just counting down the days until the term ended. I didn't want to deal with Mickey anymore. The drama, the complaining. I just hated hearing his jarring voice. By the end of junior year, I was just done.
Hey guys, I'm Stacky and I have a classmate who's been getting on my nerves for a while. His name is Yusef, and he can be a real bully. One recess I was sitting on the bench, reading, when I noticed him looming over a smaller kid. He was teasing and shoving, and the kid looked terrified. I stood up, marched over, and without thinking much about it, I grabbed Yusef and swung him off balance. He hit the ground. A teacher saw what happened and rushed over. She separated us, checked on the other student, and then made us both sit with the principal. I said what I'd seen and why I hadn't just walked away. Yusef got a serious talking to about his behavior, and I got a reminder that violence isn't the best solution. In the end, the principal pulled Yusef and the kid he picked on aside. Then he had to apologize and help with during lunch duty for a week. It wasn't a perfect ending, but it felt like he got what was coming or a consequence at least.
Hey, my awesome blue stars, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to comment with blue hearts if you've reached this far, and also mention whose story was your favorite. Peace out, my awesome blue stars. Bye.